because we are limited in time, we will try and leave a little bit of time between the little bits of video for people to pose questions. But what I would ask, because we are going to be a bit time limited, is if people could also pose questions in chat, and then if we don't get a chance to answer them during this session, we can pick them up a little bit later once we're finished, or as part of the session this afternoon. Okay, well, with no further ado, I'm going to stop talking and ask everyone to press play. Thank you.
As part of the first year of my PhD in conservation genetics, I boarded a research vessel headed for the Irish Sea and the English Channel, the RV Cefas Endeavour. I experienced what it's like to work in the British research world. We dodged storms for 2 weeks. I deployed zooplankton nets, sampled water for environmental DNA, filtered endlessly, and spent my time cleaning. Okay, there wasn't just cleaning involved, but also fish, and I managed to sample a lot of specimens from my own PhD project. With all that, I somehow found the time to also record videos for this channel. Despite a lot of repetitive and meticulous lab work, it was a beautiful trip, and with this video, I bring you my experience of a night in the life of a marine biologist. It is past midnight and I am actually quite late for my shift. So I gotta run.
It's CTD time!
Birds! Oh, the rosette is ready. Oh, cool. Looks pretty cool.
It's cool.
Are we close to the coast?
I have no idea.
So we're waiting for the boat to be in the proper position to deploy the rosette.
There are dolphins as well.
Oh wow, dolphins.
I think there may be there.
Ready, dolphins?
Ready.
Around 7.
For rosette deployment.
Yeah.
It is making work very hard to have dolphins around. Come on, dolphins. Oh, there they are. So here's the rosette. And there's dolphins passing just beside the rosette. Oh, there it is. It made that sound again. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Well, not the weirdest. I've heard of a lot of weird things. Oh, it's like banging on the rosette.
Quite interested, aren't they?
They're really interested, yeah. Oh, they're just hanging around it. That is so weird. There's got to be something wrong with their blowhole.
Stuck in it, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe it's inflamed, or maybe it's a bit sick.
Comes up to release her, I think.
The rosette going down. The rosette is in the water. A lot of stuff is happening in the rosette room. What's happening?
Yes.
Yeah, and we are. What's the depth? The depth is 70.
Copy. Could you bring it up to 4 meters, please?
Are you gonna collect samples at 4
Yes,
meters?
I'm collecting some sample 4 meters. I'm just going to buy a couple of bottles just to collect salinity, phytoplankton, microzoo, chlorophyll, nutrients, so our standard sampling. And then we're moving to zooplankton
Right away.
straight away.
Awesome. The rosette is back. Getting ready for the zooplankton net?
I am indeed.
Still with your left hand?
Always with my left hand. Should I try right with my right hand?
Yeah. There you go.
This is going to be interesting.
Let's see.
It does look like a 5-year-old with it.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. Maybe you are better with your left hand after all. Oh, what are these?
That one. I am putting in this small little flow meter which has numbered counts, and as it goes down, this will turn, and then we'll be able to calculate the volume by a known constant made by the manufacturer into cubic water.
So this gives you an idea of the volume of water that is passing through the nets,
Exactly.
basically. So you put it right in the middle of the net, at the mouth of the net.
Yeah.
It is a really nice night. It's not always that nice, right, Hayden?
No, not at all.
No, it's not always that nice. Most of the time, it's not that nice.
This is what we want you to think we do, it's not what we do normally. Come on, stay.
Any dolphins around the net?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Where are they?
Over that side. Doing net samples.
Wait, I didn't catch that because I wasn't filming. Now I'm filming.
I'm just washing off the net from the previous zooplankton sample. This sample I'm going to analyse live very shortly.
Do we have krill in there?
We will have somewhere.
It's small krill.
Very small krill, yeah, baby krill.
Baby krill. Oh, what's cuter than a baby cat?
What's cuter than a baby cat?
Yeah.
Baby dolphin?
What's cuter than a baby dolphin?
Me?
What's cuter than you? Baby krill! Damn it. Can't believe I'm filming. Oh my god. So, we have now sampled the first CGD and zooplankton net of the night, so I can take this stuff off. Well, I'm following you. We are starving. It is 3 in the morning. Well, 2:40 exactly. Everyone is sleeping. And there is the kitchen. And the cook left food for us. Microwaved fries. I'm a little bit skeptical about the...
Can I just say the chips in this country?
Oh, chips. Sorry, chips. We have now finished our lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever that was, and we are working very hard, right?
Yes.
Watching dolphin videos.
I'm just about to make a tweet, that's all.
Ah, about dolphins?
Yeah, I'm going to tweet that we saw dolphins swimming around our lovely rosette.
We did. I need to follow you on Twitter.
I'll follow you.
Are you following me?
Yes, I am. I believe so.
Wow, I'm famous! Well, I'm gonna need these videos because they're awesome.
I'm not sure about that. The charge.
They charge. Okay, well then I will go that way and film Elisa, who is working very hard. Oh, this is the glove holder. It is so that the gloves dry. It is slightly creepy. And Elisa is the only one who's working hard right now.
So what I'm doing here is filtering some water because I want to collect phytoplankton. Phytoplankton are the microscopic algae that lives in all oceans, in all waters, even fresh waters, and they're extremely important because they are the base of the marine food chain. In this case, we are trying to collect them on a filter. This filter is then going to be analyzed, and we can get some information from this filter. We will know how much was the chlorophyll concentration, which is chlorophyll is contained inside the phytoplankton cell, and is then used for the photosynthetic process. But also we will have information on other pigments, and then we can work out what type of phytoplankton was actually in the water.
So Hayden was doing his zooplankton work at the microscope, and Elisa was doing some phytoplankton filtering, and I was actually filming her so that I can have a little interview of her doing that. And now we have another zooplankton net going in, but unfortunately my phone ran out of battery, so it's currently plugged onto the ceiling, because that's where the plugs are, on the ceiling. So I'm not really going to take it out. I can take it out for 5 seconds to show you. Look at all these seabirds over there. Not you. The monster of the deep is coming back. Make sure you give Hayden a little shower. Hayden seems to have a thing for drowning people in seawater today. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, and my phone. Okay, and there's the method to turn off the hose. It is currently 4:30 in the morning, and Hayden is working really hard.
On my tweet.
Yeah, he's tweeting about dolphins. You've been working on that tweet for 2 hours.
Well, you know, I'm busy doing other things.
Yeah. Film. Oh, well, it is filming. It is now coffee time.
Certainly is.
Yes, so let's go for a coffee. In this magical room, there is a magical instrument. The most important. If this instrument fails, the whole survey
Was granted to a halt.
Yeah, granted to a halt.
Sure.
Look at that. That is absolutely magnificent. The most important moment of the morning, of the day, really. I am now heading back in the lab, where I'm going to start doing my DNA extractions. I can't talk too loud because people are sleeping. I'm going to see if Hayden is working. How's it going?
Filming as well again.
Yep.
Getting sleepy.
Yeah, well, it is 5:30. It's that moment where we get really sleepy, 5:30.
This is what I normally do.
He pretends he's working, but really, he's actually sleeping. He says that it's kind of like a cushion.
Yeah, very nice.
Alright, well, I shall now start my DNA extractions.
Would you do me a favour? Will you pass us the big jug?
This?
Uh,
There you go. The big jug. The big jug. This big jug. There we go. DNA extractions in the fridge. Because I do work in a fridge. So it's now 5:30 in the morning, and I am, as I call it, in my fridge. And I'm about to get ready for doing some DNA extractions. Before I do that, I actually need to select the samples on which I'm going to do the extractions. So I'm going to do that right now. Here are the samples that I have chosen, and now I need to go and get them. Here are the samples. Gloves. So it's now almost 7. Well, yeah, 10 to 7. And I'm gonna go up on the bridge because apparently the light is really pretty at this time, which I wouldn't know because most of the time I'm down here in the bridge. But today is the time where I'm going to check the sunrise from the bridge.
Excellent. Well, first of all, I'd just like to introduce and thank Maureen, who's kindly put together that little snippet for your enjoyment. Maureen was, while she's not strictly speaking a Cefas scientist, she's certainly a valued collaborator and has taken part in a number of surveys, I think, on board Endeavour. Yes, so that video was shot a little while ago whilst Maureen was completing some of her studies. So introducing Maureen, and again, thank you. I know you've had a busy last week or so, yeah, you've managed to achieve and excel in putting that together during an extremely challenging few weeks. So we really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for showing it as well.
No, it's great, and it's always good to sort of get, not that I'm saying that we Cefas scientists get complacent about, you know, our opportunities on board the research vessel, but just to get somebody from a totally different perspective, I think that's really valuable actually, and gives a real good insight into not just the science, but the day-to-day goings on, I suppose, on board a research vessel, soggy chips being one of them. So, I mean, we are limited in time. I don't see any questions that have come through as part of the chat. There's been a little bit of discussion, which is great. If people do have any questions, as I say, you know, around this or anything burning that you've always wanted to know about life on board a vessel, a research vessel, then just put it in chat. Rachel's asking, why is it at night? So it's a good question. Oh, there's a few coming in now, actually. I'll start with Rebecca, actually. How long are you on the vessel for generally? I'll ask the sort of the scientists in the panel to put their videos on so you can see who you're talking to, and I'll allow people to answer some of the questions. That's great. Vessel, how long are we on the vessel for? Well, it really does vary. the longest survey that I guess we run at present is about on the Endeavour is around about a month, and that's our annual groundfish survey that takes place in the North Sea. But it can be anything from 2 or 3 days for some of our smart buoy and lander turnarounds to anything up to sort of 4 or 5 weeks at most, really. The vessel can stay at sea for a significant amount of time. You know, she's a sort of a global ocean going vessel, so it's not limited by what she can do, it's more limited by the survey work that we need to complete. Rachel's asking, why is it at night? I'm going to let Jeroen answer that one because it was his survey.
Yes, no worries. Happy to take that one. Thank you, Sue. And good question. Actually, we work throughout the 24-hour period. So we do different activities during the day and during the night. So the activities you saw here that Marine portrayed so well were particularly those that we do at night. And during the day, we do fisheries acoustics and trawling, basically. So we just try to cram as many sort of data collection initiatives into our survey to get that ecosystem approach, really.
Excellent. There's a few other questions coming in. What surveys do we do on the vessel? I think if we can quickly answer this one, and then we'll probably move on to the second little bit of footage that we've got, just to give you a flavour of the away part of our. We're looking at home and away, so we want to spend a little bit of time on that as well. What surveys do we do on the vessel? Paul, I'm going to throw that one at you, if that's okay. You're on mute.
Wasn't expecting that.
Sorry, put you on the spot.
We do a wide range of surveys on the vessels, from benthic camera surveys to fishing surveys that Jeroen usually leads, plankton surveys, fishes acoustics, habitat mapping, coring, grab sampling, just masses and masses of different work. And as Jeroen says, we try and put them all together so we get a really wide approach. So we sample all the different systems in the marine, from the benthic to the pelagic, to get a really good picture of what's happening in those systems. Thanks,
Paul. I'm going to ask you to multitask now, because I'm going to ask you if you would mind linking us into that. So the next little bit of footage that you'll see is from a programme that's very close to well, certainly Paul and Serena's heart. Is in relation to a programme that's known as the Blue Belt programme. But I won't talk about it too much now, because I'm sure it'll spring up a few questions as we go along. So again, by all means, put things in chat, or if you'd like to ask anything verbally, you know, just raise your hand as the usual Teams etiquette. Over to you, Paul. I've given you a bit of time there to get organised.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Wildlife is my passion, and the marine environment is my favorite place to be. So I love the fact that I get to work with scientists who are discovering new species in this part of the world.
The Blue Belt programme set out to protect 4 million square kilometres of ocean around the UK overseas territories.
The UK overseas territories that are part of the Blue Belt programme are Ascension Island, British Antarctic Territory, British Indian Ocean Territory, South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands, Pitcairn Islands, St. Helena, and Tristan da Cunha.
For Ascension and Tristan, the Blue Belt programme really started right at the very beginning, from engaging with those territories for a desire to enhance their marine protection, working right through to data gathering to understand what was in their waters, to help them identify what sort of management regime would be best for them to put in place, and then going on to help with the legislation.
In 2019, the Blue Belt helped support an expedition to Henderson Island to really highlight the issues of marine plastics in the South Pacific. Some of the coral reefs we saw were absolutely fantastic, and I'm talking about full carpets of colourful corals, some of the most deep corals I've ever seen as well.
effective marine protected areas and effective management, it's really, really important that they're underpinned by strong governance. That can be having the right policy and legal framework in place, and also making sure that the management measures have teeth. So they have a really important site for whale sharks in St Helena. The Blue Belt programme worked with St Helena government. We've assisted in developing a marine tourism policy, and we're also working on marine tourism regulations. If you don't have the right governance in place, then the management measures won't work.
During an expedition just north of St Helena, we were working with some local mariners who were talking about an area they like to fish. And they were talking about how shallow it was in this area. Turned out that there was a massive seamount in this location. It was something twice the size of Ben Nevis, previously been uncharted and was unknown to science.
Working with the British Indian Ocean Territory, we've been able to help them in prosecuting vessels operating in their marine waters. And also in the case of the Nika, which was operating illegally down in South Georgia.
I think the major decisions that have been made by these overseas territories is a strong commitment to marine protection in its exclusive economic zones. These overseas territory governments have made massive commitments to protect their waters for biodiversity, for sustainable fishing, and for future protection.
Although Tristan da Cunha is a remote island in the middle of the ocean, it has previously had impacts from oil pollution where the MS Oliver ran aground and spilled its cargo and its fuel, causing a real problem for the environment and the habitats there. And what the Blue Belt programme has done is to work proactively with Tristan da Cunha government to help them understand better the volume of shipping traffic and the risk posed. And then with that information, we've helped establish an area to be avoided, to keep the shipping traffic further away from the main islands and reduce that collision risk.
Reducing the detrimental impact of human activity has been a really important part of the Blue Belt programme. Human impacts can kind of be put into two different categories. On the one hand, you've got the kind of the local human impacts, but then you've got those more global problems like climate change and marine litter. And we can kind of direct measures in place through management plans or legislation.
The Blue Belt has been such a unique programme, bringing together people that haven't worked together before with a really clear objective of enhancing the marine environment. So what makes me really enthused is that we're actually having a demonstrable effect on those marine environments. You can actually see where there has been improvements, including return of species, more abundance, cleaner oceans, better resilience to climate change. So really making a positive, demonstrable benefit for the overseas territories and for the rest of the planet.
These remote marine waters need our protection, our care, and our passion for the future.
Excellent. Thanks, Paul, for running that one for us. We do only have 5 minutes left because I've been asked to encourage you all to, at 12 o'clock, return to the main session where we'll be having a panel discussion, I think, with our DEFRA Chief Scientist, Gideon Henderson. I think that's the next thing on the agenda. But we do have a little bit of time for some further questions or responses. Elise, I noticed you've expanded a little bit on some of the answers to the previous question. Happy for you to just provide a little bit of a verbal account if that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are multiple surveys, and the most recent that have been on board, we've been servicing Smart Buoy. These buoys are present in the North Sea as well as in Liverpool Bay, and they monitor a whole variety of water conditions, from temperature, salinity, nutrients, collect phytoplankton sample as well. So some of the data that you saw earlier on in the presentation by Mike Best actually was collected through the Smart Buoy network. And also, yeah, we service Noiselander, which monitor the underwater noise. And also we service wave riders, which provide information on the wave climate around the UK coast. So.
Brilliant, thanks. Just given that we've seen a really nice insight into some of the overseas work, it'd be really good to just maybe hear from Serena and Paul a little bit from their perspective. I mean, I guess you've both recently experienced in how we do things in the sort of UK and on board our research vessel Endeavour, but you know, what's your sort of experience of expanding into a more global setting?
Bluer water, warmer temperatures. No, it's really interesting working in different environments and seeing different marine systems. Also, sort of working with the small overseas territories. It's a very different environment that we work in. There's different activities that are ongoing, so we have to employ, different management techniques and strategies. And I think it's a really nice link seeing the Blue Belt video after the survey video that Marine showed, because it demonstrates where or how all that information is then used to formulate management and what impact it has. So you can see all the information being collected from the plankton nets, from the trawls that Jeroen mentioned, and from the habitat mapping that was showed in the Blue Belt video. All that information is then reported on and fed up to managers, who can then develop management based on that evidence to make sure that those management strategies and the areas that are managed are in the right place and the strategies are right, that they're sustainable, so they allow the guys living on the island to carry on with their activities in a sustainable manner. So what we're not trying to do is just say you can't do this. We're looking at ways of allowing that activity to continue in a sustainable manner.
And just sort of, I keep introducing you as being very interested in tuna, Serena, and I'm presuming that I'm kind of right in that. But you sort of get involved in some of it's not just RV related activities, but it's kind of wider field work. What's your sort of perspective on your day job, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, just to introduce a little bit of what I've done in the past, it's more to do with the St. Helena tuna kind of fisheries work. And you're right. I mean, I think some of the most interesting things is we're still trying to get to the bottom of the same kind of questions, but for the overseas territories. But I think it's very different in terms of how to deal with it, even health and safety, even getting the same paperwork across the board that is expected, for example, for Cefas compared to the overseas territories. It provides quite a few challenges, but I think as Paul mentioned, there's so many rewards. I think working with the communities there, it's quite often close-knit. So I think that's been quite eye-opening and quite exciting, actually, to really see that from the science straight through to, the impacts that kind of has locally. So just brilliant to be involved in that kind of work.
Excellent, thanks, Serena. Well, amazingly, for a meeting that I seem to be chairing, or a discussion group that I seem to be chairing, we seem to be bang on time, which is a first, if I'm honest. So it's been really great to have you along. I don't want to keep you from the next session, which I'm sure you will enjoy equally. And again, we're going to be having a second session this afternoon. So I'm going to, obviously the chat will stay open. If there are any burning questions that come to you a little bit later down the line, then please, by all means, put them in the chat and we'll be happy to get back to you at a later point. But thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and we might see some of you again later on this afternoon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Bye.